Oh no. Good morning. The weather just changed. We've had a really wet and pretty cold spring, actually. Had a lot of rain. I've barely had to water. It's coming up to the end of May and I have honestly barely watered. Put the sprinklers on a few times, but... More to test them out than actually out of necessity. Anyway, just getting through the animal jobs now, almost done, just doing the donkeys. And yeah, we've got hot weather ahead of us. We've got nights up to 20 degrees. We've got days up to 30. I think that was really the last of the spring and we're into the hot season now. So we've got lots to do to get ready for that. So in this video, I'm going to show you a few things that we have been working on. So today we're connecting the water bag to our pipes that go up and down from the house. The pipes are all already up there laid out. They go into and out of the tanks at the moment. So it's literally just changing them over. I imagine by the time we get up this hill, Mauro will already be done, but let's go and see. Okay, now I'm going to go down and turn the pump on and we can start pumping into it, and we'll leave Mauro up here because we're just a little bit worried about, I don't know, if we haven't got like the gradient right on the pad and all the water like rolls into one side and like rolls the bag off the end of the terrace, you know.
The worst case scenario.
I'm sure that won't happen, but that would be the worst case scenario. Alright, it's pumping. So that's the pump over there. We're pumping out of our main deposit now. Wow, that's going to take a while.
Not slowly, it's just a big capacity.
Very underwhelming to put a very long time lapse on for this. So yeah, this turned out to be the most boring time-lapse in the world. Here I am adding some fly screens to the overflow pipes, but apart from that, there is really nothing to see here. And as you might have expected, it actually took quite a few sessions to pump the full 20,000 litres. It didn't help that we had really cloudy weather and we were finding it hard to find good moments to put the pump on for long stretches of time. But little by little, it did begin to fill. Oh yeah, I see him. In the meantime, there was plenty of work to be doing in the garden. Right, today I'm going to be flipping this bed behind me. There's some celery in here and there's some garlic, but that's not ready yet, so we'll leave that. Some purple sprouting broccoli, which I think is basically done. Starting to go to seed, as you can see. I don't know why. It's supposed to live for 2 years. Celery can never get it past like 6 months, so. I also had lots of other things in the garden that were starting to bolt with the warmer temperatures, like these endives, some broccoli that was starting to open up, and a few other lettuces. I have a bad habit of hanging on to stuff for too long in the garden, and then by the time I finally get rid of it, it's barely good enough for the chickens, let alone for us. So this year I am making an effort to clear stuff out as soon as possible, once it's past its best, giving us back the bed space, taking what I can for us and giving the rest to the animals. I do have issues with ants in the back part of these beds at the back of the garden. You can see how they've brought up loads of like organic matter, just old bits of seed casing and husks and whatever it is that they're eating and bringing up to the surface. It's a bit annoying, mostly for like walking around here and working, because they do bite. Well, they don't bite, they release formic acid, but still, it's annoying. There's nothing you can really do about ants. They're just there because the soil is poor, and when the soil's better they won't be here anymore. So there's all sorts of remedies and solutions and ideas for getting rid of ants. I just don't think any of them really work in my experience, so just gonna leave them. They haven't affected the garlic, so there's certain crops that they're not gonna damage or bother, so just gonna work with them, and hopefully when the soil's a bit better up here they'll just move out. Okay, so I've got these 3 beds refreshed with wood chip mulch now. These are the ones I was weeding, and this one, it was already mulched, but it needed a little bit more. So yeah, I had previously done a little test of cane mulching just along one half of this bed. We've been growing some lovely lettuces in here. I've harvested most things now. We grew some big broccolis in here. Everything did really well. Just pulled out some more endives, which I'm going to give to the chickens. Parsley here. So yeah, that was my little test and it did really well. I know you read in a lot of places that you shouldn't use wood chip on your beds as a mulch because it draws nitrogen from the soil. What actually you need to differentiate is between using a thick layer of wood chip on top and not digging it in, and incorporating it and digging it in. I have noticed a huge difference in those 2 scenarios. So if you use wood chip as a mulch, you need to make sure it's not getting mixed into the soil. It is going to break down and it is going to draw nitrogen from the soil for that, but it's only going to be that layer that's actually touching in contact with the soil microbe, so it's not going to be anywhere near as bad as if you're going to mix it in. I have accidentally dug wood chips into a bed in the past and the results were really noticeable. Actually, I can show you now. So in this bed here where we've got a big fig tree, I did end up digging in a lot of like pine wood chips, kind of by accident when I was like weeding and I was planting the fig tree, and they just all got like dug in. And I swear these leeks have been in here for like a year and they're tiny. The kale, planted at the same time as the kale in other parts of the garden, tiny. Got some onions in there. Like, things are just beginning to take off, but honestly it's been like a year of stunted growth in this bed. The only things that seem to not mind are the lettuce. I've grown some enormous lettuces in here, so I guess they don't care too much. These are new transplants. So yeah, that was a valuable lesson. So the water for our water bag is pumped out of our main deposit here, and down there is a little pump. Don't know if you can see it hidden in the grass, a little silver pump, and the pipe comes along here, up this terrace wall, through the lavender, and then out round the back of the house and off up the hill, which is up that way. And what I need to do today is put a valve in that pipe. Ideally it would have been a non-return valve, but we couldn't find one of those, so it's just a normal open and close manual valve. And that means that we don't have to run up to the top of the hill and open the valve on the bag every time that we want to pump into it. We can leave that valve open and we can just open the valve down here. The reason we need a valve of some sort is because otherwise when you turn the pump off, all the water will run back down the pipe, draining out of the bag. So we need a way to like close the pipe when we're not pumping through it. At least I assume that's what would happen. That's how our other pump works, but to be fair, I haven't actually tested that theory with this pump. Maybe it's got some sort of internal valve in it to stop that. I mean, these valves are not cheap. They're at least like 20 euros, so I'm actually just going to test that first before installing this, because if we don't have to use it, we can return it. Whoa. Okay, oh, right. So there is water coming out of here, but it's through like a bit of O-ring that's just popped out, so I feel like it shouldn't be coming out of here. So I could fix this, pop that bit of O-ring back in, but obviously there's no non-return valve within the pump itself. It's actually within this like suction hose that would be stopping any water from falling back down the pipe. So I think it's probably best to put the valve in anyway. That way if we need to disconnect the pump, move it, I don't know, and we're not relying on this hose. So yeah, okay, let's do that. Okay, back at the top of the hill again, opening the water bag again. Alright, no drips here, that's good. No leakage here either, that's also really good. Whoa! Haha! That actually gave me quite a shock when I came around the corner. It's enormous. It's not full yet because it would be coming out of the overflow, but God, that is huge. I really wonder how big it's going to get. So there you go, that's what it looks like up here on top of the hill. If you can imagine the IBC's moved out of the way, I think it's a lot more attractive. than the IBCs. It's not too conspicuous. But I think what we'll do one day, not right now, but project for the future will be to take the overflow water from the overflow pipes at the top and divert it back along here and grow a row of cypress trees or something along here just to obscure it from the road. Just because it is like an unnatural thing in the landscape, and I'd like to kind of keep it hidden. And you know, the road is just here, so I just think it's a bit more respectful to keep it a little bit screened off. And also just to give it a little bit more protection from, I don't know, like a wild animal or a random stray dog running through and jumping on it and getting its claws in it or something. So that is our plan, a bit of a sort of fence border barrier thing. So today I need to put in a sprinkler, a second sprinkler in my potato field, which should be quick and easy. And then I'm also going to put in a tap near the yurt because that would just be really useful. So I've got a bit of pipe here and hopefully I've got all the pieces for that. So here's my first sprinkler, it's working great, and I'm just going to put another one in just at the end of this line here, which I left for this purpose. Okay, I'm not sure what this one's going to do when we turn it on because Santi was playing with all the pieces, so yeah, we will see what happens. Alright, well it's more of a jet than the other one. I guess there's some sort of thing that controls that, but it's working, so that's good. Is it spinning round? Slowly. Okay, so now for the tap for the yurt. I want to put it somewhere around here. Not sure where really, just somewhere where it's easy to access for anyone who's in the yurt and just wants to, you know, pop outside and wash their hands or something. But also to water the trees which are behind the yurt. It's a little bit overgrown around here, but if you remember, before we even installed the yurt, we planted a few trees around the back here with our volunteers Esme and Alex. And if you guys are watching, they're doing really well. We had plums, peaches, this one here is a mulberry, a couple of almonds. Seem to have a lot of wheat growing here as well out of the straw, which is interesting. It's actually starting to dry off. Maybe I can keep an eye on that and actually pick it. Might be able to make like a tiny biscuit. All right, this has got a little bit of ant damage. I know I should pick these fruits off the first year. I'm going to pick some of them off the first few years actually. So that it puts more of its energy into growing, but it's just so cool when you see a new like fruit coming for the first time. I'm gonna leave a couple. I'm gonna leave this one. More wheat, second mulberry, an almond down here, and the only tree that hasn't seemed to have survived is one of the almonds, which is really weird. I don't know, but we did plant 6 and we got 5 out of 6, so that's okay. So we have our exudation lines here, and rather than just carry on with the end of that pipe and put the tap on the end, I'm going to actually branch off earlier on because I don't want the lines to all be open in order to have the tap open, you know? So there's our main valve that controls the exudation lines. So before that valve, we're gonna have to branch off here and bring another line along parallel. And I'm actually thinking that makes a lot more work for me, but I would quite like to bury that line because it's going to be fixed to the tap at the end, so it's not going to be a line that you can easily move out of the way for strimming and stuff like that. So if it was buried, that would be better. Let's start with the tea. Okay, the trench is done. Let's see how much pipe we've got here. This is what I cut off from the excess from the exudation lines. I don't think this is quite long enough. No, nowhere close. And here's the bit that I cut earlier, which would have been long enough if I hadn't cut a piece off for the sprinkler. Okay, third time lucky. Perfect. Looking good here, looking good there. Right, so the final bed that I need to mulch is this one, which had the artichokes in, which I dug up and replanted the other week. They're doing fine, by the way. They've all survived the transplant, which is great. So yeah, I just need to do a little bit of weeding in here, and then we'll mulch it all. The fig tree is looking loads better now. It's got some light, so that's good. With the final irrigation installed, the water bag full and operating, and the garden beds all ready for their summer crops, they actually felt ahead of schedule for once this year and prepared for the long, hot summer which will soon be upon us. Hopefully my irrigation is all straightforward and easy to operate because I am leaving Mauro in charge of it for the next couple of weeks whilst I head off to the UK for a little trip with Santi. When I get back, I imagine the garden will have exploded into life and I can't wait to show you. Things change so much at this time of year and all the little seedlings I've planted out will probably be enormous. Anyway, I think that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching and we'll see you in the next one.